Hello, this is Peter Jermain. Today is August 4th, 2020, and the topic of today's video is going to be dissection of the sheep kidney. Here are the notes that I will be using for this video. And here I have an intact whole sheep kidney specimen that has already been dissected by introducing a longitudinal cut at the midpoint, so I've been able to separate it into two coronal cross-sections, or two coronal halves. So in order to label some of the relevant anatomical features, I'm going to examine this half here. And I'm going to start by labeling the renal cortex, which is the outermost portion of the kidney tissue between the fibrous capsule and the renal medulla. So here, I'm pointing out the renal cortex. The renal medulla, you can see deep to the cortex here, and this is more inner kidney tissue that's split into various renal pyramids. So here you can see a renal pyramid and another and another. The average human has 6 to 18 of these renal pyramids, which are shaped like cones. And you can see that the base of the pyramid faces the renal cortex, whereas the apex of the pyramid faces the pelvis. Here you can see here and here, also here, some of the renal columns, which are extensions of the renal cortex into the renal medulla between the renal pyramids. Here is the renal sinus. It's a cavity that's occupied by the renal pelvis, the renal calyces, blood vessels, and also some fat tissue. So here is the renal sinus. And then here you can very clearly see the hilum, or the renal hilum, here, in here. And that is a recessed central fissure where blood vessels, nerves, the ureter are able to enter or exit the kidney. Next, I'm going to point out the calyces. So for example, here you can see a minor calyx, also here another minor calyx, and these surround the renal papillae of the renal pyramids and collect urine. The minor calyces join together to form a major calyx, which you can see, for example, here, which transports the urine. And then likewise, 2 to 3 major calyces join together to form the renal pelvis, which you can see here. And the renal pelvis ultimately transitions into the superior portion of the ureter, which you can see here. And this is the duct that ultimately transports urine from the kidney to the bladder. So that's going to conclude this video, and I thank you for your attention.